Who is that? That man in red. Can't be anything good, I'd expect.
Unless it could be something cold? No, I think it's something hot. What up, do? It is I, Satan himself.
No.
I don't have the horns. I can't find my horns. I think I shaved them off and I forgot about it. You know how it be when you're Satan and you do like crazy stuff. You do crazy stuff and forget that you're the devil. You know how that works? It's crazy, you know. Well, what up, doe? And welcome back to Popcorn Poppin' Live, your ultimate movie, TV, and streaming guide. There's too much content in the world and you can't be wasting your time. And let me waste my time for you by watching all that looks vaguely interesting in everything cinema and let you know what's poppin' and what ain't. Tonight, we'll be talking about some things. New episodes drop on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, every Monday at 7 p.m. and releases on Spotify every Tuesday morning at 6 a.m. with clips following on socials every weekday. So be sure to like and subscribe to Popcorn Poppin' Productions on all those sites so you'll be the first ones to watch the episodes and stay up to date on what's poppin' on screen. Tonight we'll be reviewing the #1 movie at the box office, The Devil Wears Prada 2, grossing over $233 million globally on its opening weekend so far. And we'll be talking about the best on-screen Satans in cinema. But first, let's start off with our weekly disclaimer. These are the opinions of Popcorn Poppin' Productions and that of myself, the Popcorn Poppy. Art is subjective and I'm merely giving you my opinion. If you disagree or agree, I always recommend you to watch the film for yourself and share your thoughts in the comments. And now let's get straight to our spotlight film after I adjust my camera ever so slightly. Ever so slightly. There we go, that's perfect. Make sure we got all of our stuff together. Take a little drink. Did you guys see the movie this weekend? I did, obviously. That's why I'm doing the show. If you didn't see it, are you going to see it? Make sure you comment below. So let's go ahead and just jump right on into it. The Devil Wears Prada 2, starring Meryl Streep, Anne Hathaway, Emily Blunt, and Stanley Tucci. Tucci. Streep you may recognize from Sophie's Choice, which is on Peacock, Kramer vs. Kramer, available to rent, Death Becomes Her, also available to rent, Anne Hathaway you may know from Get Smart, available to rent, Princess Diaries 1 and 2 on Disney+, The Dark Knight Rises on HBO Max, and Stanley Tucci from America's Sweethearts you can rent, Easy A on Stars, The Lovely Bones available to rent, and it also stars Emily Blunt from Edge of Tomorrow, available to rent, Sicario on Disney+, and A Quiet Place on Paramount+. With 3 on the way, I believe. There's the prequel movie with Lupita Nyong'o, but they're making a part 3 of Quiet Place coming out within the next couple of years, if not later on this year. Devil Wears Prada 2 is directed by David Frankel, who previously did episodes of Entourage, Sex and the City, Band of Brothers, along with films like Marley and Me, available to rent, The Big Year on Disney+, and the first Devil Wears Prada on HBO Max and Hulu. But the sequel takes place 20 years after working for fashion editor icon Miranda Presley. Andy Sachs loses her journalistic dream job and decides to help save Miranda's reputation, working alongside Emily, Nigel, and others, hoping to win their affection and respect, pushing to convert the devil into something good. Poppin' or not, let's go ahead and check in with Mr. Bucky. Is The Devil Wears Prada 2 hot enough to pop or not? Chick flip poppin'. I don't know what that means. Thank you, Bucky. Oh, wait, I do know what that means. It's difficult for a sequel to hold up to expectations, especially 20 years after the original. Some examples of such difficulties include Dumb and Dumber 2, which was actually, a lot of fun, Blues Brothers 2000, and Gladiator 2. Yikes. But why are these sequels so difficult for filmmakers to execute? Expectation. In general, people will hype up a sequel after such a long period of time, but these days, sequels are so saturated, it's hard to be excited for them anymore, at least for me. Because of films like Twister and Beetlejuice, which many people enjoy, but not so much me, I try to subdue expectations and smother my excitement like I would do baby Thanos if I had a time machine. We as a society don't love disappointment, so I always encourage others to take note in my book and walk into a theater with skepticism, because you could walk out of the theater with a bigger smile on your face than expected. The story and script of The Devil 2, Electric Boogaloo, was decent, but it started off a little rocky for me. We catch up with Andy as a successful journalist, and she is about 5 seconds in with success before getting fired immediately, which has an extremely silly scene to follow because her whole team is at a table about to win an award and receive a mass text saying they're all fired. They won an award for y'all. Why do you not just wait to fire them until after? But this leads into the greater scheme of things, corporations laying off a bunch of people for monetary gain, and the world adapting to the future, whether that includes AI or the next best thing. The film touches a bit on how we're all very expendable, especially to the bigwigs, and it's a bit preachy but true, but not really what to expect from The Devil Wears Prada. There's a couple of scenes of constantly crying face Andy Sachs venting about this topic over and over again, and it's all true, but I just wanted to get back to Miranda Priestly, sorry for mispronouncing your name, fake character, pursing her lips at everyone, or flipping her hair, or outlining her head as if to make sure she still exists. Get out of my office, get out of my office. Besides the under and overlying existential topic, there were some twists and turns to the story that were dope. If you Google this movie, do not read the plot outline they give you because it was a really good surprise for the audience in the theater I was in, at least. Some devils may not always be wearing Prada. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You have to see the movie and check it out. All the actors and characters were great. Our protagonist, Andy, is super likable and independent. She sure is on the verge of crying a lot, but that's just the Hathaway charm. Andy is empathetic, full of heart, and does not have a flaw in her body. She's almost too likable. But don't worry, she sort of lashes out at Australian replacement for Nate. And yes, Nate is completely missing from the film. Never mentioned by name, but Andy is single now and even more focused on her work. She does mention how she's had boyfriends that haven't shown her the support she deserved here and there, which sort of hints that she got tired of Nate, but being more reassuring for her career, Nate was arguably a problematic character in the original. And from a storytelling standpoint, I understand how a career gal would outgrow him 20 years later for her own independence, but in my opinion, Adrienne Grenier deserved at least a little cameo or even a mention. The plot of how her job weighed on her relationship in the first film was fairly essential if you end up with them staying together in the first and open with them, well, with the relationship completely missing in the sequel. It raises questions. It's reported that the director really wanted to bring him back in this film, probably for like a cameo or maybe even just as an ex-boyfriend turned long-distance friend of Andy, but said that the scheduling conflicts were an issue. Whilst Grenier's, sorry for mispronouncing your name, claims he was never contacted at all. Shade. But it's okay. Grenier premiered in a hilarious Starbucks commercial referencing this, and even the director praised it. I highly recommend you to check this commercial out after the review. Getting back to the review, Nigel has a chance to stand out on his own 2 feet in this film like he didn't have a chance to do in the last. Plus, there's a very sweet reveal about how he may have played a bigger part and having a bigger heart than we thought towards the end, making the whole theater of ladies "aww" in unison, followed by me heavily laughing. It was admittedly very touching, though. So, you know, I just didn't go, "Aww." I was just like, ha, nice. Good for you, Nigel. Emily, who's probably my favorite character, stands on her own 2 feet at Dior, fighting to admit that she likes Andy and still quips like a very British Valley girl. She has a devilish scene around halfway through the film that I absolutely loved and completely respected for her character the most out of all of them. And yet she has a touching scene at the very end as well. Playing her love interest is Justin Theroux's ridiculous Benji Barnes, who is said to be based on Jeff Bezos and is fucking hilarious with every giggle and amazement the character has at being with Emily. He was a lot of fun. Not too much to say about BJ Novak. I like him, but he plays the same fucking guy in everything he does. Tracy Toms, sorry for mispronouncing your name, makes a return as Lily with more screen time. I personally haven't seen Tracy since Death Proof, so her presence was super welcoming because she's underrated as fuck. Patrick Bramall, sorry for mispronouncing your names, Peter was charming and all that, but I'm more happy for Bramall because I'm a big fan of his show No Activity, which I recommend. I think it's on Paramount Plus. At first, I was like, why don't they let him do his American accent? It's so good. Then I realized that they hired him because of his Australian wit. And finally, the devil herself, Miranda Presley. Sorry for mispronouncing your fake name. It's Meryl Streep, guys. Of course she was great. It was fun watching her speak at meetings, being reminded that she has to talk a certain way in 2026 that won't get her reprimanded by HR. But I honestly missed her being more of the devil like she was in the first film. She's a bit more obedient. And that's a very, not strong word. She wasn't obedient, catering to, but she was a bit more obedient in this one, having people to answer to and impress, which kind of bothered me because it's just Miranda playing the game for the new age. So it is what it is. Plus, this film is a bit more about redemption and making friends. So I overall understood their decisions. Oh, and Kenneth Branagh was in the movie too. Sorry for mispronouncing your name. So was someone else we haven't seen in a while, on screen, not part of Devil Wears Prada 1. But there's another character that plays a significant role, even though she only has 2 scenes. And I don't want to spoil her important appearance because it was a nice surprise. But it's not the singer that appears in the movie, but an Asian actress. And that's all I'll say about that. Direction and production were just fine most of the time. They revisit a montage from the first film and update it a bit, and they have a little nods to the first film without overtly rehashing, which I hate seeing in sequels. However, the final shot of the movie is and they all lived happily ever after. They all lived happily ever after together. Forget it. The feels were strong with the audience of females. It is a chick flick, and there are some gushy moments. The reason I say chick flick popping is because if you're a dude, especially a heterosexual dude that don't really like chick flicks, you're probably not going to like it. Luckily, I'm a heterosexual dude that still likes chick flicks, Notebook or Devil Wears Prada. It was surprisingly fun. It's just not as, gushy as you'd want all of the audience to be. But don't worry, there's enough gush going around in that theater. They were solid and moved me a bit more at the end, but not as much of an aw as the rest of the theater. But I will admit, I absolutely love the final shot of the film. I can't stop talking about it. And I'll talk about it again, I promise. Overall, the film is very entertaining, but there are dragging parts of the final third of the movie. It runs about an hour and 59 minutes long, but I believe that they could have made it closer to an hour 35 if they cut out some stuff. The final 20 minutes could have wrapped up a bit quicker, and there just seemed to be some filler scenes here and there. However, they apparently had a lot of cutting to do. For instance, it felt strange watching Andy constantly working in an empty apartment. Sure, she socialized with friends here and there, but it just felt empty to me a bit at first. But I thought, well, it makes sense. Why should she be living with someone else? She's career-driven and focused. Only to find out that they originally gave Andy a roommate, but cut him out when test audiences questioned why Andy would have a roommate in the first place. Fine enough decision, I guess. There were some cameos cut too, even the inspiration for Miranda Priestley herself, real-life devil Anna Wintour. Sorry for mispronouncing her name. According to IMDb, there was a gag take that they couldn't use because she missed her cue and appeared partially out of focus. But the director said, I can't ask Anna to do take 2, which I do find hilarious. The most controversial cut was a cameo from Sydney Sweeney, where she was being sized up by Emily's character when the gang approaches her for help. The internet claimed they cut her out for euphoria, outrage reasons, and production stated it was for structural reasons. If the reason was the former, I would have been honestly annoyed, at least at first. I don't think opinions of Sweeney being revealing and sexual should get her cut from projects, but Roxy made a good point. If she was cut out to avoid controversy, it was wise because her scene could have been talked about more than the film itself. A film that people have been waiting many years for, so the conversation should just be about the characters we love and not about a hot 2026 topic involving an actress that had nothing to do with what we were going to see the movie for. I'm not saying I'm happy Sydney Sweeney lost screen time because of Euphoria, but if it wasn't for structural reasons and it truly was just to avoid controversy, I'd say I understand, even though we're still talking about it anyway. All in all, the film was a fun ride the audiences from the original will surely want to see, along with answering such questions such as, can the devil be redeemed? Can I befriend someone that I used to hate working with? Do I deserve to live in an expensive-ass apartment? Will my dad ever try and contact me again? That last question was more of a personal one that I always ask myself, but the film does answer the other ones. I give this film a medium popcorn with butter. The only reason it's not a large is because I'm not quite the target audience for this one. If I were more into fashion and chick flicks, this would probably be perfect, besides the extra long third of the film. Long third act of the film. I still found it enjoyable enough, though. I'd say rewatch the first on HBO Max or Hulu before seeing the second. I don't think this installment stands strong enough on its own, and you could wait for streaming, but if you can't wait, go see The Devil Wears Prada 2 in theaters now, especially if you're a fan of the first and are looking for and they all lived happily ever after ending. And now, we're going to take a quick commercial break, but we'll be back for the best Satans on screen.
Yes, Mr. Death, please have a seat.
Thank you.
Would you like anything to drink? No, I'm fine. Okay, Candace, nothing to drink for him. No thanks, I'll just stick with this. Thank you, Candace. Shut the door, please. Thank you. Got a body on her, doesn't she? It's okay, we can talk like that here. Right. I thought we were having this meeting with with Big Man. Well, apparently he's got a bunch of other stuff to do, and technically he's all-seeing and all-knowing, so he's basically here. Right. So I assume you know why you're here today, Dr. Death. Oh wait, that's Mr. Kevorkian. Mr. Death. Still sounds weird. Just a little bit. Can I call you by your first name? Todd, is it? Well, that's not my name. I mean, according to your file here, you are Todd Death. I haven't gone by that name in a while. I prefer the Grim Reaper or the Shadow or Joe Black. Okay, Todd. Okay. So you know why we're here, right? Yes. Great. Then let's get this performance review started. Performance review? Yeah. Oh, I thought we were going to go over approving my vacation time for Memorial Day weekend. Really? Yeah. Really? Mm-hmm. That's pretty ballsy. How so? Well, let's look at a few projects that had gone awry, shall we? Awry, but successful. Successful? I don't know. In the year 2000, you were supposed to take the lives of an entire plane full of human souls, but we're short 7. I mean, I eventually got them. But it took over a year to do so, and in that span of a year, you also failed to complete the quota of an expressway accident, and missing a repeated 7 souls. What's up with that? It's not like I wasn't paying attention. And you never were able to catch 2 of them. They cheated my design. Ugh, here we go with the death design bullshit. Hey, respect the design. Sir, please. I mean, it is flawless, my design, that is. And besides those 2 incidents... 2006, Vancouver, Canada. Fucking Canada. You were 8 souls short from the Devil's Flight roller coaster crash. So 1 higher than 7. It was certainly not my finest hour. I don't even want to go over the racetrack incident in 08. That shit sucked. Oh shit, we glossed over the people surviving the bridge collapse before the plane crash. Now I'm hearing we have some sort of unfinished business with a building collapse from the Skyview building in 1968. Okay, so I've definitely brought in some errors. I've definitely brought in more results than errors. Well, we're a little strict around here, so I'm afraid I'm going to have to deny your vacation. Come on, Mr. Satan. Please. Call me Lou. Lou, I haven't had a vacation in literally forever. That's not true. Don't lie now, Todd. That is not true. I've seen you've been to Israel and Palestine quite a few times recently. That was work! Todd! I'm afraid my hands are tied. Why don't we circle back to this next quarter, huh? Yeah, right. Sure. I just can't give death a break right now, all willy-nilly. Right. Sure. It might fuck some shit up for the planet. Okay. All right. Thanks, Todd. Here. Take these home with you. Consider it a thank you for killing the whole Spider-Man Extended Universe thing. I really appreciate that. I'd love to say you're welcome, but I'm not responsible for the deaths of film franchises, just human souls. Well, you would have been responsible for me killing myself had I had to endure one more of those films. So, good looks. The door? Thanks for the skills.
For more Tom fuckery, be sure to subscribe to Popcorn Poppin Productions on YouTube. And now we shall begin with something else. Let's check out the best Satans on screen, starting with Bedazzled with Elizabeth Hurley and Brendan Fraser. If you don't know this one, Elizabeth Hurley you may recognize from EdTV, Serving Sarah, and Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery. Brendan Fraser from Encino Man, The Whale, and the Best Mummy films. This one was directed by Harold Ramis, who previously had done Caddyshack, Groundhog's Day, Analyze This and That. Bedazzled is the remake of the 1967 Dudley Moore and Peter Cook comedy, which follows a hopeless, nerdy Elliot, who sells his soul to the devil for 7 wishes in order to win the affection of his co-worker he's in love with, but lacks the confidence to approach on his own. Hurley's devil has a lot of corny quips and probably shouldn't be this likable. She's good at being bad, but not quite the evil you'd expect from most films with Satan. However, she shapes the film nicely, reminding audiences that 7 wishes won't get you everything you want, and self-acceptance goes a long way. If you're looking for a genuinely fun and hilarious ride with a little nostalgia of simpler times with Brendan Fraser and a sexy yet cunning Elizabeth Hurley, rent Bedazzled right now. You can also check out The Witches of Eastwick, starring Cher, Susan Sarandon, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Jack Nicholson. Cher you may remember from Mermaids, Burlesque, and Moonstruck. Susan Sarandon from Stepmom, Rocky Horror Picture Show, Thelma and Louise. Michelle Pfeiffer from Scarface, Batman Returns, and What Lies Beneath. And Jack Nicholson, he's Jack Nicholson, guys. You know who he is. Departed, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Chinatown, The Shining. Do I need to go on? This one was directed by George Miller, who did 3,000 Years of Longing, both Happy Feets, and all of the Mad Maxes. The dude he's got range. Satan himself turns a small town upside down when he uses his powers to turn 3 female residents into powerful witches who, in turn, begin to question where their loyalty to him should lie. This is an all-star cast where no character is too small from entertainment and entices audiences to give their bad side, teaching you that fucking the devil may give you power, maybe even superpowers. Probably the most epic comedy I've ever seen outside of action comedies. This is a grand one with great witch portrayal and fucking Jack Nicholson as the devil himself. Can you think of better casting? And does he hold up to exactly what you expect and then some? Both answers are yes. Break free from the devil on your shoulder and rent Witches of Eastwick right now. The Prophecy, starring Christopher Walken. You may remember him from a little film called Deer Hunter, or another little film called King of New York, or another bigger film called Dead Zone, and countless others. But you all may recognize Viggo Mortensen from Crimson Tide, History of Violence, Rings of Lord of the Rings. And this film was directed by Gregory Wyden, who had only done an episode of Tales from the Crypt, but also wrote Highlander and Backdraft. A group of angels, including Gabriel, wage war on humans wishing to make their own hell on Earth. Of course, Christopher Walken shines as a lead antagonist, Gabriel, but there is only a handful of scenes featuring Viggo Mortensen as Satan himself. Sorry for mispronouncing your name. If that's not too much of an appearance, he still gives quite a good acting job. There's not too much to it, but he's not quite thunderous and damning, but instead, his chill, spooky, and endearing presence will send shivers down your spine. Fulfill your prophecy on Paramount+. The Devil's Advocate, starring Keanu Reeves, Charlize Theron, and Al Pacino. Keanu Reeves you may remember from Speed, the John Wicks, and the Matrixies. Charlize Theron, you may remember from 2 Days in the Valley, Monster, and Atomic Blonde. Al Pacino from Scarface, Godfather, Jack and Jill. It's Al Pacino, guys. A southern, never-losing defense attorney from Florida moves to New York City to work for the rich and powerful boss that's even more powerful than some may think. Keanu and Charlize may have terrible accents in this film, but they accompany the story, making it a strong and entertaining film where defending the guilty may lead you to believe you're working for Satan himself. Literally. One of the most famous Satans on screen, Al Pacino does a great sinister job portraying the Prince of Darkness without really changing how he's done other characters in other projects. Maybe there's a little devil in all characters portrayed by Pacino. You can rent The Devil's Advocate right now. You heard me talk about this once before. 'Cause it's the perk of Destiny, child. You know that I'm reviewing it 'cause it's fucking insane. It stars Jack Black and Kyle Gass. Now it's funny how this film shows up 2 weeks in a row. But you can't have a film about the greatest band in the rock world without a little devil in it, or in this case, a rather large one. Satan faces off against Tenacious D in a glorious climax that'll rock all over your face. Satan is portrayed by an actor that I would have never recognized unless you paid close attention to his drumming skills. Nirvana and Foo Fighters' Dave Grohl not only portrays Satan in this sequence, but also drums for Tenacious D from time to time. It's comforting to know that Grohl is convincing enough for us to believe he wants to fill Kyle Gass with his hot demon gel. He's the devil, and if you love metal, check out his riff in Tenacious D's The Pick of Destiny on Tubi. It's fucking tasty. It's a good movie. Moving on. Little Nicky, starring Adam Sandler, who you may remember for such films as Punch Drunk Love, Uncut Gems, and the box office hit The Cobbler. This also stars Harvey Keitel from Mean Streets, From Dusk Till Dawn, Reservoir Dogs, and countless others. Little Nicky was directed by Stephen Brill, who had previously done Heavyweights, Without a Paddle, and Mr. Deeds. The polite and sheltered son of Satan and an angel must leave his home in hell and stop his 2 demon brothers on earth from destroying humanity. If you have a dad like I didn't, you may have sometimes thought he was the devil, and yet sometimes seemed very sweet. Harvey Keitel balances this in this wacky, Happy Madison comedy, proving that even the worst dads can sometimes be delightful, even if you're not too rude about it. You can rent Little Nicky right now. I'm so excited for this one because I love saying the title, and you can only say it one right way. End of Days, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, Robin Tunney, sorry for mispronouncing your name, and Gabriel Byrne, sorry for mispronouncing your name. Schwarzenegger, you may remember from Twins, Junior, and Kindergarten Cop, amongst others. Robin Tunney from Prison Break, Vertical Limit, and The Craft. Sorry for mispronouncing your name. Gabriel Byrne from Hereditary, Miller's Crossing, and The Usual Suspects. This was directed by Peter Hyams. Sorry for mispronouncing your name. Who had previously done Running Scared, the Billy Crystal, Gregory Hines edition, Time Cop, and 2010, The Year We Made Contact. A suicidal former cop must save a woman who is believed to be pregnant with the Antichrist in order to save humanity from Satan himself. When I think of cool Satan, I think of Gabriel Byrne in this film. His powers of controlling others, along with his immortality against Schwarzenegger's badassery, makes the film of his presence on Earth scarier than this dark action fantasy thriller. Begin your End of Days by watching it on Amazon Prime Video. But the number one